Welcome to another episode of Hoosier Nerds podcast with your hosts, Chris and Chris for right now. Mikey's going to join in a bit, and Tim said he'll be writing in like 10 minutes. So we'll see. We're going to try and do a little bit of a shorter one because...
No, that was Mikey. Unless Tim recently just said...
Tim just texted me
10 minutes. Tim just said 10 minutes.
Yeah. Mikey told us 10 minutes 25 minutes ago. So, we'll see. Me and Mikey finally moved into our new place. It's Mikey's parents' old place. They moved to Florida and sold him their house, so now we're in his old house. So, we're not neighbors with Chris anymore. It's not, come walk across the hall. We're ready for you.
I actually got to make an effort now.
It's, 2 miles? Not 2 miles. It's like 2.5 miles.
Yeah, it ain't that far.
It ain't much, but it's something. We have the cat Ari here and Mikey's dog Luna, who's a thick girl, and she likes chicken nuggets because I dropped one on the floor and she slurped it right up. So if you hear any barking, it's probably her. And if you hear me yell at the cat, it's because Ari's trying to scratch something. Anyways, Chris the K watched some documentaries this week.
I was busy doing nothing but watch TV.
What is your how many documentaries did you watch or have shows or?
I watched two documentaries, a mini series, and a movie.
Okay, let's
That's all I watched.
Start where you want. You can talk about them all.
Okay,
and then I got a short little fun topic at the end, hopefully.
Which I think I've got one for you there. Okay, so I watched a movie with Stifler in it.
Okay, you were talking about that at the office earlier.
Yes. Today. I stumbled upon this. It was on HBO.
What? Okay. What is his real name? Because everyone just knows him as Stifler.
Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott. Okay.
Yes. It was called Just Before I Go. It was made in 2014, and it was directed by Courtney Cox. I think she helped produce it too, actually. Yeah, let's see who's... Yeah, she's one of the producers. David Arquette was a producer, so was she. So, they were of the 8 producers. So what it is basically, so this guy's at the end of his rope. He's getting divorced. His wife's leaving him, which is Sean William Scott. So he wants to off himself. So before he does that, he lives in Los Angeles, so before he does that, he wants to go home and make reparations with whoever. So he looks up the bully, the guy who bullied him in high school, and he meets up with a girl that he liked in high school, and he finds this teacher that was really mean to him. She's like catatonic in a nursing home, and he's yelling and calling her all these names, and her granddaughter comes in, and he tells her that he's going to off himself, so she tries to save him, basically.
Oh, Mikey just bowled in.
That's okay. He's not missing much. No. So it's a really good movie because the bully's like... he apologized for being a dick, and he's got a kid with Down syndrome, and his dad hates him, and that's why he was so angry in high school. But it's a comedy/drama, and it is a comedy drama. But he goes back, and he has to he's forced to live with his brother for a while. He stays with his brother and his family, and wacky hijinks ensue.
That was the back door.
His sister-in-law. His sister-in-law sleep masturbates.
What?
Yeah.
How do you do...
Hollywood! What's up? You ain't missing anything. We just started like 5 minutes ago.
Not even 5 minutes ago.
So, I highly recommend it. Just before you go, it's on HBO Max right now. And it's got Sean William Scott and who else? Connie Stevens plays his mom. And it's also got Alicia Cuthbert, the girl next door.
Oh, okay.
She plays his wife that leaves him.
I was wondering why that name sounded so familiar.
Kate Walsh is his sister-in-law that sleep masturbates instead of sleepwalking. There's this whole story behind it, though. It's pretty hysterical.
Sean William Scott has been casted in as Stifler when he's a really good actor.
He's a very good actor.
Yeah.
And Rob Riggle plays the bully.
Yeah.
The adult bully in the movie. So I recommend it. Watch it. It's only an hour and a half long. It could be a chick flick, I guess. I don't know. So I watched that first. So recommend that. Then I watched the Space Shuttle Challenger documentary on Netflix, and they talked about how, like, for some reason, it was sold. Yeah, it's called Challenger: The Final Flight. It's a 4-part series. They're only 45 minutes long. They sold people on the fact that space travel was safe back then. And when they announced that they were going to shoot a teacher into space, a lot of the astronauts in the program were like, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's really not the safest environment in the world to be shooting up civilians at this point. Plus, a civilian is taking an astronaut or a scientist spot.
Yeah, someone who could do some stuff.
Someone who could do something.
She could have done a lot of good, teaching kids.
And well, I mean, they interviewed her sister, and of course, the pilot, Dick Scobie, his wife.
Yeah.
They interviewed her, and they interviewed the teacher who was the backup to Krista McAuliffe. Now that's got to be.
Did you know, like, the 5th backup was actually from Kokomo?
Really?
She was she was the president of the Historical Society for a long time too. I forget her name. It'll come back to me eventually.
Well, the backup eventually did go to space and teach. And I think it was like 2006 or 2008 or something like that. She was they launched her on the shuttle. But one of the astronauts, his wife was mad because her husband kept getting bumped from missions.
Yeah.
And he got bumped by like a senator or something. And he was supposed to be on the previous shuttle flight. And this state representative or whatever, or senator, bumped his spot, so he got pushed back to Challenger. So she has a hard time forgiving.
Yeah.
And Dick Scobie's wife has she said she had a hard time forgiving because the only unbelievable part was this woman there, her dad was like one of the head honchos at the subcontractors that made the
boosters,
the rocket boosters, right? And he kept saying, they kept having issues with the seals burning.
Yeah.
Like way before anybody knew it. Like in previous Challenger or previous shuttle launches. And they were like, if this breaks through, it's gonna be disaster. She seemed like she kind of exaggerated the stories a little. I don't know if she did or not. Well, Dad said this, and Dad said this. Well, Dad's dead now, so we don't know. And Dad warned them, and he told them so. And I don't know. She just didn't seem believable.
How much of it is hearsay and,
Yeah, is this what she remembers, or this is what... I just seemed like she seemed to be a little bit over dramatic about it.
Yeah.
But I do believe that I know he did warn them. He said, you cannot launch a shuttle below 52 degrees. Because anything below 52 degrees, then the seals would become compromised.
Yeah.
And they launched in 32 degree weather.
32 degrees in Florida?
In Florida, yeah, they had a freeze. Yeah,
Oh.
they had a massive freeze.
Jeez.
And
I guess that would make sense because, instead of expanding like they would want it to, it constricted and...
that's the thing that they found out. And that was the only difference between any other shuttle launch was the temperature. So...
You want to know I don't want to change the books too much, but want to know a fun fact about Challenger?
What?
You know what who they wanted to shoot up?
Big Bird.
They wanted to shoot Big Bird up.
They talk about that. So NASA, when the shuttle program was launched, they wanted to launch a shuttle like every 2 months or twice a month or something. It was like one right after the other. So they felt like they were already behind. So NASA was pushing. We got to get this shuttle launched because it had already been put off. It was supposed to launch on Sunday, and it scrubbed because it was too cold.
Yeah.
And then they pushed it back another 2 days. Nobody understands why they pushed it so much because they could have just waited for it to warm up. I mean, it's Florida. It'll warm it up.
Well,
it'll warm up in like 2 days.
Political reasons.
Yeah.
Well, they cut Apollo missions because of budget issues, and if politicians get their hand again in it and cut shuttle missions.
But a lot of the astronauts were upset because they were telling people that it was as safe as airline travel. And Krista McAuliffe says that in an interview. I'm not really that nervous because it's as safe as flying in an airplane. There's nothing safe in it. And
Jeff Bezos just shot himself into space.
But the pilot said when he kept hearing this over and over again, and he warned everybody, this is a test vehicle. Mm-hmm. This isn't a real plane. This isn't an airplane.
Weren't the shuttles not even 5 years old by the time that blew?
That was in '86. So yeah, the first one was '81. But they had a string of successful flights.
Yeah, that was the first bad one.
That was the first bad one.
There was only two of them. What was the other one? Olympia?
No. What was the other Challenger disaster? Mikey, you know that one?
I'll look it up.
Or the other space shuttle disaster? Besides the Challenger? Shuttle blow up. That's all. But 2003. See, space shuttle blew up 2003.
Columbia.
Yes. Columbia was the first one to go up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the oldest one.
Yeah, that was the oldest one. But
and that was due to
the heat shield.
Yeah, the styrofoam blocks that they
dissipate heat along the belly when it's re-entering.
Yeah, they got hit by a piece of debris on launch.
Yeah, like something came off on the booster rocket.
Yeah,
and hit it and knocked off enough of it that it.
And NASA knew that, and it could have been prevented.
They also thought it could work. It wouldn't be an issue.
Well, we think it'll work. I wouldn't want to take that chance.
Well, I think I can survive re-entry.
Right.
Now I'll stay up on the space station a little longer.
But it's a really good documentary. It's on Netflix.
Did you guys see that they want to change what it takes now to become an astronaut?
What?
Because Jeff Bezos and his crew were only in space for like a couple minutes. They want to change it to... Like, NASA's thinking about changing what it takes to become an astronaut, at least in the U.S. Because it's too easy now with all these billionaires shooting themselves up into space.
He's Dr. Evil. Have you seen those memes?
Yeah.
He literally is Dr. Evil. He shot himself up. Spent $1 billion. He wants $1 billion to shoot himself up into space in a rocket that looks like a giant penis.
I would like to thank my workers that are basically slaves and everyone who's saved me money.
Everybody who bought books, thank you. We put every bookstore and small business out of business so I could go up in a rocket. Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like a penis, just like Dr. Evil.
Yeah, it does look like a penis with Dr. Evil.
At least he told the truth.
Well, this is true.
He's a very truthful supervillain.
He is. And I tried to watch the Val Kilmer documentary, but some movie with Jake Gyllenhaal kept coming up on my streaming app that I use. So I didn't get to watch the Val Kilmer documentary. Oh. But I watched Woodstock 99 on HBO Max. You got to see this documentary. It is nuts. I remember when all this happened. And I remembered they blamed Limp Bizkit. Like, they blamed them for a lot of stuff.
Why'd they blame Limp Bizkit?
Because they said that he didn't instigate it, but he didn't help calm the crowd down. Think about it. So, Moby, or who was it? Was it Moby? Moby played on a Friday night. Like, it was never-ending music because you had Woodstock. It was 90-something degrees all day long at a former air base. Mm-hmm. So you have the hot tarmac, and it's hot. So you would play there. They had music all day long. Then they had these tents that play EDM music all night. Music played all night, 24 hours a day, 3 days in a row.
Jeez.
There was never a break with music. And Moby got a bad feeling on Friday.
Yeah.
That something wasn't right. So I guess when everybody came into the festival, they liked it because it had fences and gates so people couldn't sneak in.
Like in the original.
Or Woodstock 94, you had the same issue. But these people paid $125 for a ticket, which that's 20 years ago. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money now, but still.
I paid $50 in 95 to see the Rolling Stones. That was a lot of money for me. And then, so you go in there and beer's $4. A bottle of water is $4. $4 for a bottle of water.
That's
20 years
now
ago.
for a bottle of water.
Right. This was 20 years ago. 22 years ago.
Back when it was like 50 cents for a bottle of water.
And the promoter come out and said, he says, this isn't for poor people. This is for, if you're going to come here and you're going to spend money, so you better have the money.
Sounds like Firefest.
Exactly. But
Look up Firefest if you don't know what we're talking about.
they're college kids. All that whole demographic was college kids.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit, Metallica. So when Saturday night hit, you had Metallica, you had Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica, right? So that's when the rage started, and people started breaking stuff. But they had these big buckets of water where you could maybe brush your teeth or put a bottle in and drink water off. People were bathing in this water. The porta potties were overflowing. People were breaking the water, the water pipes because they wanted fresh water, and it just all mingled together. So people were covered in mud and literal feces, just all together. They were mad because they had spent $4 for water. They had ATM machines that didn't work because this was 1999, so everything was cash back then.
Yeah.
You had to have cash for everything. So, it started going crazy. And then the guy came out during... the guy came out... One of the promoters came out during Limp Bizkit's set and was like, can you do something to squash the rage? Because everybody could feel it. And even the lead singer of The Offspring said, hey, I saw a woman get groped in the audience when she was trying to body surf.
Yeah.
Guys, let's be better than this. Keep your hands to yourself. They just want to body surf. Just pass them on. But be courteous about it. We don't need to see that. That's gross. You don't. But it was happening all over the place. But women were walking around topless, all over the place. Women were. I can't believe that. People. And a lot of the women say, "Well, can't guys learn to behave themselves?" No, guys are assholes. And you're at a concert with. I mean, like I said, they had Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, and Limp Bizkit all on one set. They had 3 women the whole weekend. They had Alanis Morissette, Jewel, and Sheryl Crow. Were the only 3 women to play Woodstock, and one was on each night. So, guys can't behave themselves, especially 19 to 22. They're not going to behave themselves. So, should girls walk around topless? No, they should not walk around topless in that situation, because they're probably outnumbered 4-1, guys over girls. And it was awful. I mean, women were getting sexually assaulted. They were getting raped. After the whole festival came down, all these accusations of rape were coming out. And by the time,
Hello, Tim.
What's up, y'all?
we're talking about the Woodstock documentary on HBO.
Oh, Woodstock documentary.
Woodstock '99. The Nightmare. So basically, the whole concert was a money grab. That's all it was. It was a money grab for the promoters, and they asked Limp Bizkit to calm the crowd down. What's he do? He sings break stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, he has a song called
Yeah,
Break
he has
Stuff.
a song,
It's
yeah.
it probably doesn't help.
So then after Limp Bizkit, then you had Rage Against the Machine, and then Metallica finished it off. This was only Saturday night, and they were already taking stuff apart in the thing, right? By Sunday, it was nuts, and you see people, they're banging on trash cans, and then they start. That's when the fire started. So this nonprofit group was there, right? This isn't funny, but it is. So they handed out candles because they wanted to have a candlelight vigil for Columbine, right? So everybody took these candles and lit them and started lighting shit on fire, because they were mad because they were out of water. And they didn't have any money because they done hoarded. The ATM machines were broken. They broke into ATM machines. They started burning down speaker things. They burnt down the food tents and the souvenir tents, and they started just stealing stuff out of the tractor trailers in the back. They were stealing T-shirts, sweatshirts. This guy was flinging pretzels out, and I mean you could see burnt pretzels in the ashes, right? And I mean. They started
Where's this documentary?
It's on HBO.
HBO. Okay.
It's on HBO Max. And the thing is, I'm like, oh my God, this is like Lord of the Flies. And like 10 minutes later, the guy in the documentary says, it was like Lord of the Flies. Like they were dancing around fires and stuff. These guys were, and they were banging on trash cans and drumming and banging. And once the fire started, they announced, fire department's coming in so they can do this, blah, 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 blah. So the Chili Peppers are playing, right? So the guy comes out and he asks Anthony Kiedis, can you do something to try and calm the crowd down, right? So what's he do? He starts singing Fire by Jimi Hendrix. So it was a whole...
don't seem to help.
No, nothing. None of them helped because they didn't... And a lot of people blame Fred Durst. That's what they said when it started with the Limp Bizkit set. Is when it started. And he's like, I just can't... He's like, those kids were mad to begin with. When they walked in, they were mad. They were hot. They were hungry. And I guess they handed out those little boxes of cereal to people that were coming in.
The little, like you see it like a continental breakfast.
Yeah. And I guess, who's going to eat dry cereal? They didn't have milk. What are you going to do? Put $4 bottle of water on it? So they started just slinging these boxes at people. And it was ended up on the stage. And they hated MTV. And MTV was the big promoter of the concert. Because at that point, MTV had turned its back on Limp Bizkit and Metallica and The Offspring and all that stuff. That's when they started playing Britney and 98 Degrees and the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. It was all boy band stuff or hip, pop. Turned their back. So MTV is there to promote this, and they were terrified. Was like, we don't want to be here.
Yeah, they didn't read the room.
No, they didn't read the room at all. So it was just a whole hodgepodge of angry young men because it was a big money grab. You already charged them $125 to get in. Jeez. Then you're going to charge $4 for water, and you got $4 for a bottle of water.
Still cheaper than Disney.
Or $4 for a beer. Now Disney wasn't $4 in 1999 for a bottle of water.
Well, I'm saying now.
It was $2 for a bottle of water. I think it was like $2, $2 or $2.50 back then for a bottle of water. Or $2.50. It was even like $2.50 for a soda, maybe even $3. That's back in the early 2000s. So, if I'm gonna spend for a 3-day festival, $125. Okay, I get that. Because now, I was looking up Lollapalooza tickets, and they're like $300, $400 for a 3-day. $125 for 1 day.
I would never go to one of those.
I would love to go to Lollapalooza because on Saturday is Limp Bizkit and Metallica. I would love to go to Chicago. I would love to go to that concert. I think it would be awesome. But
you'd be setting shit on fire again.
I would. I'm one of them angry people from 1999. But it's insane. And this guy even says, he says, I've always been a mild-mannered person, and here I am throwing out stuff and starting fires, and it's like Lord of the Flies. It's like the whole attitude.
Mob mentality takes over.
Yeah, and it's exactly what happened. Mob mentality took over the whole thing.
You know what this reminds me of? How does HBO keep getting all these crazy documentaries? They got the one that Tim loves and watches every 3 months.
Oh,
who doesn't love it? The action part.
Action part. Class action part.
Well, there was when VH1 did Behind the Music.
Yeah.
They had one for Woodstock '99, but there's nothing peaceful about Rage Against the Machine. Is you're going to put them on a piece. And then, they tried to bring out Crosby, Stills, and Nash early. And you know what? Creed played one night, right? They brought out Robbie Krieger from The Doors, which that's pretty awesome. Nobody in that crowd cared about Robbie Krieger from The Doors. They didn't care at all. And even they talked to Scott Stapp, and he's like, it was hard to read the audience because you didn't know what they wanted. And did they want to hear us? Did they not want to hear us? It was just... a lot of rage and anger built up.
Why didn't people? I know they paid $120 some odd for a ticket, but why wouldn't they have just left?
Yeah. You want to get I don't know. I mean, you spend that kind of money, right?
I know. Yeah.
Plus, you get $125 for a ticket. What was the camping? What did that cost extra money? Because they had campgrounds,
gas or flight tickets.
Yeah. So I mean, you're invested in there. And one guy did leave early. He left on Saturday because he's like, this is bad news.
I probably would have left early.
I would have left Saturday too, but
yeah. As soon as I start seeing people breaking the pipeline for water and
it was a mess. And of course, everybody was drinking the beer because, beer, water, beer, water. Hey, it's the same price. You're already 90-something degrees and dehydrated. Let's add alcohol on top of it, which dehydrates you.
Yeah.
And one guy died because he was misdiagnosed by the people at the festival.
What'd they say?
Hypothermia.
How do you have hypothermia?
I guess you got because you're. I guess because you dehydrate, and your body goes into like a sort of shock, and he ended up he was dehydrated. He didn't have hypothermia, but he had the chills. He was cold. And he had stomach aches and cramps, and it was all the symptoms.
Well,
of...
you can, like, heat stroke is hypothermia,
So
or
True.
the opposite of whatever. I always forget the hyper and hypo difference.
right.
But one's freezing to death and one's overheating to death.
So yeah, they read him wrong. So he all he wanted to do was see Metallica. That's all he cared about. He wanted to be in the pit for Metallica. But he said that they say that there were so many people. Like usually you go in a mosh pit and you've got room, or you can go out of the mosh pit, in 3 feet. You're in it was wall to wall people. Like he says, I just kept walking and I kept walking through people, and you were just arm in arm with people. That's how many people there were. It was
That gives me anxiety just thinking about it because I don't like big crowds.
It was a disaster waiting to happen, and all it was. And of course, the promoters, all they did was blame they blamed the artists for not helping. They blamed MTV for only reporting the bad stuff, none of the good stuff. Well, I'm sorry, but when you start fires and women are getting raped and sexually assaulted, that stuff needs to be reported.
That's more important than someone saving somebody. Oh, that's more important than the good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing good to come out of Woodstock '99. It was a money grab
Yeah.
because it was the 30th anniversary and there was nothing peaceful about it. There was nobody on stage preaching peace and love
No, you have a bunch of heavy metal bands up there.
and the guards. Right? It was to be a security guard. You took a 3-hour class. And they would take the beer away, but if you slipped them at $5.20, anywhere from $5 to $20, the drugs got in.
And if I'm one of those security guards, when shit starts to hit the fan, I can tell you where I'm not going to be.
Well, they told them. They said they told them, take off your shirt, turn your shirt inside out, hide your pass, because we don't know what happened. We don't know if you'll get beat up or not. And a lot of them they didn't even do their job. They just went and partied with everybody else.
Well, yeah, get paid to go party.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. There was no security whatsoever after a while. There was no security, none. It's like an hour, and I think it's like maybe.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
You're gonna have to. It's a great
It's an
documentary.
hour and 50 minutes. I just was looking at it.
I can load it up on my iPad and watch
It is a
tonight.
little bit Fire Festival, but
with more people.
with more people, yeah, right? And artists that actually show up and don't back
Yeah.
out. But they tried to do a 25th anniversary of Woodstock, 25th, 35th, 50th. I'm sorry, in 2019. So they started getting it together in 2018, and they canceled it for logistical purposes. And all the bands that I remember hearing this. A lot of them were backing out. So
Woodstock's. I remember seeing a documentary. I think it was on Woodstock, and someone said, "Yeah, they've tried to do different, anniversaries, and Woodstock's only going to happen once."
well, once they did Coachella, like they did the Coachella Festival, right?
Yeah, Coachella. And,
Yeah. Well, the first year they did that, everybody that walked in got a bottle of water for free.
Mm-hmm.
But now Coachella, it's all VIP and
Well, all you see are the influencers go there.
yes, it's the rich people. Yeah.
And all it is, I remember seeing a report that at those festivals like Coachella and other ones, all the herpes and syphilis just spread like wildfire there.
I don't think now like you said, it's the influencers and it's the rich people, and those are for rich people. Those ain't for like me and you. I mean, I can't imagine being 22 and spending $125 on a concert ticket. That's a lot of money.
I don't want to spend that now. The last concert I went to, I paid $50 for my tickets, and I thought that was a lot, but it was Kansas, Styx, and Foreigner.
In 1999, I paid $135 for race tickets, but that's the whole weekend, and that included my garage passes for Miami.
Yeah.
So
Now, going to a Colts game might be different. If like for
I guess it's
Good
all on
tickets.
what you like, but
yeah, I mean, if you're all about the people, like those are the bands you want to see, like your favorite bands. Yeah, okay, sure. Just like I'd probably spend a lot of money to go to like an esports championship, or like when the Olympics come to Chicago. I think they're going to be in. One of the upcoming Olympics are in, I think, Chicago, and I'm going to go to the.
I think you're right.
I'm going to go to that.
see, you could go to the Indy 500 in 1999 for $75.
Well, we can't go back to 1999, okay?
I'm just letting know.
Speaking,
No, I was just
speaking of
no.
going back in time,
No, but I was
in
saying
1899, you could go see it for a penny.
no, but for the ticket for Woodstock was $125. That's just general admission.
okay. Speaking of going back in time, if you guys could I'm changing subjects. If you
Yeah,
can.
obviously, because you're trying to end this early. We're not doing a 30-minute episode.
No, we're not. But speaking of going back in time, if you could wipe your memory of one show, movie, or video game, what would it be? Like, go in there with a fresh perspective on it all.
My
Does it
first
have
wedding.
to be a single show, or can it be a whole franchise?
A whole franchise.
I mean, I'm picking Star Trek, so.
Why?
Why?
So I can watch it all over again.
So you can feel that same like energy you felt before, or that nostalgia, I guess.
Maybe.
or-
Maybe Fairy Tale.
The
Fairy Tale was
wonder.
pretty emotional. 300 and some odd episodes.
Don't lie. It's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Don't lie.
Now, if I had the the streaming ability helps so much right now, like I would love to like go through and watch Breaking Bad again. That or like Game of Thrones. Just do it all over again.
Yeah.
Ooh, Game
And
of
then
Thrones. That was
just
yeah.
disappointed at the ending.
But I'm rewatching Game of Thrones, and there's like, God, I'm like, oh,
Game
so
of
that's who
Thrones-
that is. Oh, so that
Game of
who that
Thrones
is.
isn't about the ending. It's the trip we took.
That's all
Through the
shows.
Seven Kingdoms.
I think I have to agree Star Trek. There's just so much there. And, like, I know I love watching Deep Space Nine again, but nothing compares to that first time I saw those episodes.
Like Star Trek was
Or
always on.
Stargate, even.
Star Trek was
I was-
on my
I
house
thought- I thought
since I was
Stargate
little,
before
so
Star
I didn't know
Trek.
no different.
But I ultimately decided on Star Trek.
How did you feel when you first saw Star Trek? I mean, did you get a little woody? Is that what happened?
I was excited. I was like, oh my god, look at this big, expansive world. Like, I didn't know what to think. I just remember it was Next
Galaxy.
Generation, and my dad wanted me to watch it with him, and I was blown away by it.
Star Trek opened my eyes to the possibilities that lie elsewhere. What may happen.
So since you don't have any possibility with chicks here on Earth, then you might get alien chicks like Captain Kirk.
To quote Zap Brannigan in Futurama, isn't it every man's dream to have sex with a hot alien woman?
No.
It is.
Mine was always Slave Leia.
Liara.
No, Slave Leia.
Chris, Liara.
No,
What? Who?
Slave Leia.
She's not an alien.
That's right. That was my. Well, I mean, is she from Earth?
That was
No,
she's
from.
She's human. Is she human? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess.
Leia's human.
She's still
Yeah,
an
I guess they're all
alien.
human.
She's technically an alien because she's technically
She's born
not
on
from.
another planet.
Yeah.
She was
I'm talking
born
about
on
another
some
race.
planet. Where was she
All
born?
right.
Wait, was she born on a planet or a ship?
She was born on an asteroid. Remember, her and Luke were born on that asteroid after Padme, had sadness to death.
Yeah, what a bunch of crap, I'm sad. I'm gonna die.
I have
Talk
two.
about being there for your kids.
I have two kids
Jeez.
coming. I'm sad. I don't want to take care.
I don't
of
want to
them.
take care of them alone.
Talk about going to get the milk and never coming back.
Anakin came back.
Okay, so Mikey,
Yeah, Anakin
they
came
did
back
that
from
all
getting
the
the milk.
So, Mikey, if you could go back and watch a show, you said Game of Thrones. Would it be Game of Thrones or movie?
I would I don't care about movies that much. It would have to be like hours long. So I would probably roll with Breaking Bad.
Right? It would be Breaking Bad.
I don't think I watched like the pilot. Like when I didn't hear about it. I was probably of course after. Like,
Yeah, you had to
season
get caught up
20.
with it. Yeah.
But it's like, I guess besides Lost, I never watched Lost, but it seems like after, like, Breaking Bad was like one of those TV shows that kind of like changed TV, felt like.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it changed like the way, like, I guess maybe it's filmed, or because Vince Gilligan,
It's up there
A
that
plus.
it's up there in like the top. If you don't have it in the top 10 of TV shows, you're wrong.
Yeah, and you
I
can
don't know,
probably
there's
talk
an awful
about
lot
it
of
with-
good top 10 TV shows.
I
Probably
wouldn't
talk
put
about
it in the
with a
top
lot of
50
people.
TV shows.
Like if someone says they haven't watched Breaking Bad, you have 5 other people behind them saying, "What the fuck you been doing?" I mean,
I haven't seen Breaking Bad yet.
I've seen like
I-
I think I've seen the
I've
I think
only
I've
seen
seen
the
the
first-
first season.
I've only seen
Oh,
the first.
I think I've only seen the
I've
first.
I've only seen the first season.
Jesus Christ! What are you waiting for?
It didn't hook me.
That's unbelievable.
It's you know what it is. It's one of those that you watch this, you watch it, and you start watching. And you're like, this is pretty good. I enjoy it. But then something else comes along, and you start watching it, and you forget about it. That's that's happened to me twice with Breaking Bad because I love the show, but something else has always come along. I was like, oh, I've got to watch this.
I like watching things in their entirety too. I hate waiting for seasons to come out.
I can't do. I almost can't do episode like once a week anymore.
Chris is struggling with iCarly.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it seemed like one of those TV like series. Like once I got caught up, it's like I couldn't wait for the next episode.
That's what Game of Thrones was like.
Yes, and Game of Thrones was like that. Walking Dead ended up being like that.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not. I mean, not anymore.
The last season's right now.
But that was the golden era of the AMC network.
But remember, like
Yeah.
with like The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, we'd spend the entire next week talking about what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and then
And
we'd
they
be
always
like,
have the after shows. And
Yeah.
you learn more about it. And yeah, it's
We
just a
sit-
big event.
we would sit there in the liquor store and talk to like everybody that came in about the episode.
Yeah.
See, I would have to go movies because no TV show. I mean,
I just feel like there's more in a TV series
Yeah.
than there would be like a movie.
I mean,
unless
I
you're
can
gonna
understand
talk
Star
movie
Wars because
series,
there's-
'cause if you said like Star Wars, that would be okay. Cause
see,
then
I
you would
remember
a whole
what
bunch
it
of
was like
movies and
to see Star
stuff
Wars for
on
the
top
first
of
time.
it.
I remember the very first time I saw Star Wars. 5 years old. Can't read the crawl because I ain't in kindergarten yet. I just remember the ship passing over
Yeah.
at the beginning, and they're shooting at the ship. I'm like, oh my god, you know. It was like little George Lopez, you know, when they have the little body of George Lopez in his head, you know. That's what it would be like for me. But if I had to pick a movie, it would probably be Goodfellas, because that was mind blowing.
I mean, I guess at least that's a long movie.
There was nothing that violent out, really. I mean, you had cheesy 80s violence, like, you know, like Terminator, anything Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, he was cutting off arms and stuff, but it was cheesy. But this was more realistic because it was a real story. You know, it was cold-blooded murder that they showed multiple times. And the F word is said so many times in that movie. So that might be one. Or I want to remember what it was like to see Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time. Again. That would be awesome. Because I saw it like 6 times in the movies. And I know I loved it. But I would love to... I wonder what it was like to see... Oh, this is cool.
Now, if I had to choose a movie, it would definitely be like the Harry Potter series, just because it's like you read the books and then like they create the movie and it's just like you get to see what you read about like on the screen and you get to visualize it better and you get to see the characters in life.
Are they close to the books?
Life. I would say
No.
I would say the first few.
They leave stuff out.
Yeah,
Like,
Well, you
Yeah.
can't cover
Yeah.
everything.
I would say like any other book, they left it out. I guess it gets kind of like almost all movies. I mean, you got to have an entertainment factor. They can't just
Well, I mean, they
copy
have
it,
to make
but-
shortcuts too.
Yeah,
And I mean, they've done that, and they did that with Goodfellas. If you read the book, it's very close to the book. It's very Donnie Brasco's the same way. It's very one of the movies that goes from book to movie horribly was Public Enemies with Johnny Depp. Because none of the stuff, was so psyched to see the movie. I went opening night, went to the Dollar General, snuck my candy into to the movies, you know, and I was so stoked to see this movie. And they open it up, and it was like Machine Gun Kelly getting shot in an apple orchard. I'm like, wait, that doesn't happen yet. Then they got Babyface Nelson dying at Little Bohemia. Nobody died at Little Bohemia.
What's Little Bohemia?
It was a place up in Wisconsin.
Oh.
And Dillinger was up there and his men, and there was this great big shootout. The only people that died were civilians that they thought were Dillinger's men, and the FBI shot them. And they were like people that like worked at the cottage area thing. So they were the only two people that died. No gangster died. They all got away. So that movie was all over the place and out of order.
Right.
So
I got to dip.
you
guys-
can't dip.
Yes, I can.
You got to learn. You need to discipline yourself better than this.
I also don't have too long left before I gotta step away too.
Give it 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes because you have to take us out because you're much more
Okay.
funnier than Tim is.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
Have you heard him take us out? I mean, you heard it the one time, but he did it again last week.
I'll have to go and listen to
I don't
it.
like this episode because it feels rushed. Chris,
You can blame me.
I am blaming you.
But before
Who
we
makes
leave,
plans
I
on a
would
Monday
like to say
night?
I didn't.
watching
You
something
can't
new
do
last night.
What'd you say, Tim?
I said before we head out, I did start watching something new last night since I finished Voyager.
What'd you start watching?
Lower Decks.
Oh my God! What do you think so far?
Finally?
I was probably a minute and 35 seconds in, and I was dying laughing. I was loving it. When the girl takes out the bat lift, she's like, "I got it from a guy with an eye patch." Oh, more honor! I was dying.
Did you see who's coming in season 2?
I saw the trailer
Tom?
with Tom Paris.
Yeah, the
and,
actual guy's
Frodo.
voice acting it too. Tom Paris is actually voice acting himself. And Captain Janeway, Kate McGrew, or however you
Kate
say it.
Mulgrew?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
watched the
Prodigy.
Prodigy video.
I'm not too interested in Prodigy, mostly because it's a kids show.
So I figure I'll be able to bang
Is it
out
going to be like that Jurassic Park show?
Lower Decks
Yeah.
in the next couple days, and then I'll move on to Discovery.
Have you seen Trekkies? You guys should watch that documentary.
I did. I like Trekkies.
That's a great
It's actually
documentary.
directed by what's his face?
What's her name?
Roddenberry.
No.
Son.
No, it's the one with all the fans. It's the chick that's in it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know. There's another documentary about Star Trek that's directed by Roddenberry's son,
Yeah.
with all the captains.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that the guy who played the guy from Deep Space Nine, the black captain? Oh my God,
Cisco. Avery Brooks.
Avery Brooks,
Oh, I
basically,
can't.
he
I can't with this kid, and he wants to do a Star Trek project with me.
he
And
retired.
doesn't
He
even know
basically
Avery
retired
Brooks'
from acting.
name.
He basically retired from acting after Star Trek.
Yeah, because he was so damn fantastic.
Yeah, he was so proud that he. I just read there's an article about him, and one of his proudest things about Cisco was he portrayed a great father figure with his
yeah.
son.
He probably got pigeonholed. Nobody wanted to put him in movies anymore because he's a Star Trek captain and nobody gave a crap.
No,
Did
he
you know, Chris?
he's a
that
professor now. He teaches acting.
Wait, wasn't he like the
Q's
guy
son
in that TV show?
in Q2 is his real son in real life?
Who?
Q's son in Q2 and Voyager.
Yeah, I know
is
that.
His
I knew that.
real son.
That was a great episode.
He was like Hawk or something in this TV show. Not Deep Space Nine. It was like an 80s TV show. Yeah, he ain't been in nothing since then. 2006 was his last. Oh, yeah, he was Sweeney in American History X. That's
Yeah.
right.
He was a pretty good actor leading up into it.
Spencer for Hire. That's what it was.
Who are we talking about?
Avery Brooks. He
Avery
was this
Brooks.
man named
Oh,
Hawk
yeah.
in Spencer for Hire. With Robert Ulrich. Dan Tana from Vegas.
What were?
Robert Urich. Ulrich?
I forget what I was going to say. Anyways, I do know. I just want to say something for next week now while I remember. We're probably not going to do an episode next week unless we shoot on Sunday.
Why?
I have surgery
next week, so I can do
We
it.
that if you're doped up, we should have an episode.
okay dude I mean I'll be at my parents'
It would be
house.
local anesthetic, wouldn't it?
No, they're putting me under.
Oh yeah, you'll
They're,
be.
they're giving me a nerve blocker, putting me under, and
I don't understand how I've like literally rolled my ankle from trying to dunk on a hoop before. Come down, smashed it, rolled it. I've rolled it countless times in my life, and this guy puts 1 pound of pressure on his ankle, and every single bone is shatters.
look up a Liz Frank injury.
I don't understand.
Look up a Liz Frank injury.
Lisa Frank.
Liz Frank.
Same. It's
I
Lisa.
know.
He's got a Lisa
I'm
Frank
just saying.
injury.
Out of all the damage and abuse I've put my ankles and body through.
Yeah, I've jumped off the roof of my house before and sprained my ankle.
270 pounds going right onto my foot.
God. I was 200 pounds at one point in my life.
I jumped off a house when I was 8 years old.
Your bones are like rubber back, man.
Yes.
You can't break those that shit.
Did anybody write any of those?
Tennis, that's all ankles.
Gosh. Here I am getting shit for breaking my foot again. Oh well, it's funny. I laugh at myself too.
Glass bones over here.
Did anybody write down those that TikTok with all the shower thoughts?
No.
No.
Dang it, I didn't write them down.
Hang
either.
on.
I got one though.
But you put it in the chat. So
I did.
No, I did. I got one though. It's a quick one.
Okay.
did you
I
see
guess
my
it's-
Did you see my TikTok I sent to you about what it's like to have $18 eggs? That's you.
Yeah.
That's you right now, Chris.
I'm sorry.
I guess it's similar to like a zebra, like where it's got like black. Is it black with white stripes or white with black stripes? This is about the Kool-Aid Man. Is he the jar or is he the juice?
I saw the TikTok about this. He is the jar.
I think he's the juice.
No, he's the jar
Or
because
is
there's
he
a
the jar,
commercial.
or is it? I mean,
There's a commercial where he's full of water and he goes to a closet to pour the Kool-Aid in.
And he was deciding which Kool-Aid.
He was deciding which Kool-Aid to put in, so he is the jar.
But there's
Yeah,
a
okay.
Family Guy where the glass doesn't move until the juice goes in. And I'm more apt to believe Family Guy. I'm just saying.
it's like Frosty the Snowman. Right? He doesn't come to life unless you put in the juice.
The magic hat they stole.
Oh man.
I think it's the. Yeah, I think he's just a pitcher of water.
the water. The Kool-Aid is his soul. He's an empty shell without it.
So I'm saying he's a shell until the Kool-Aid's inside.
Speaking of
Then
Kool-Aid,
he's
I remember when I was a
Kool-Aid
kid,
man.
I had this Hawaiian Punch game, and it had like Play-Doh of different colors inside the game, and you made a pineapple, and like red, blue, green, yellow, right? And you got this Hawaiian Punch thing, and if they landed on this on this certain part of the board, you got to smash their pineapple with this Hawaiian Punch looking character guy. So you get to smash, and then they would have to roll until they could recreate a new pineapple. But I thought that was kind of funny. It just reminded me of that was a fun game. I think all my Play-Doh dried up though, and I couldn't play it anymore, and so we threw it out.
I just put a picture of Chris in the group chat.
Oh no.
Yep, that's
I'm
me.
curious.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have the fish. It's the fish with all the wrappings from SpongeBob.
You
Anyways,
should have a wheel put on your legs like that so you can walk around.
anyways, I'm sorry I had to rush this episode through, people, but I made plans and I got to keep them.
Yeah, you made plans with us first, though.
Well, I didn't think it was going to be 20 minutes later.
Bros before other people.
Anyways, you can catch us at YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes.
Not so easy, is it?
Easier than you. And I guess you'll never know who your nerds are, because that's us, because I'm the big nerd having to rush this through, and I suck. Anyways,
Chris
If
sucks.
you're ever wondering who your nerds are, just go look for Glass Bones. And you'll know who's your nerds.